All right, so I just wanted to come on here and give my thoughts on the local Bitcoin developments that we had. Nothing too interesting, but I want to go over my trading plans and how they've kind of adjusted. So in my last video, we were right about here, and since then we've come down to put in a lower low. Now this again is just very local market structure. Overall, the context of current price action is we are just ranging up here. And I mean, you could even say that even though we SFP'd the highs, we are still in a kind of an uptrend here, with this being the high, a higher low, and then a higher high again. So I think it is possible that we end up putting in a higher low still, and continuing this kind of uptrend if we break this range to the upside. I still think that's a possibility. I don't think the SFP of the high necessarily means that the uptrend is weak and that we are more likely to break down, because we did SFP the lows right before. It was kind of just liquidity grab in both directions. So I do still think that this can go either way. Now, the context of the higher time frames, I have to say, a lot of them are looking bearish. Daily time frame, we just got another red dot, and it seems like money flow is now looking to put in a lower low. So definitely showing weakness on the daily 12-hour money flow. It is still kind of trending to the upside, not super strong. Since we've gotten into the green, we haven't seen a lot of follow through, which doesn't necessarily indicate weakness. I mean, we saw kind of the same thing back here where we peaked in, didn't see a lot of follow through, came back down. Same thing here, not a lot of follow through, came back down to the red, and then later the money flow really started to come in. We could see something similar to that. And with the context of the weekly time frame being so bullish, I think it is a real possibility. And the 6 hour is kind of looking bearish locally. Money flow turned to the downside, momentum turned to the downside. Same thing on the 4 hour. So you could definitely make a case for bearishness on some of the higher time frames. But also the trend recently has been Bitcoin continues pumping up and putting in new highs despite the bearish divergences. So maybe we continue that trend and we keep putting in higher highs anyway. And some of the midterm time frames I would say are looking kind of bullish. I mean, this 24-minute money flow trending to the upside, even though kind of locally we've gotten this turn to the downside. You can still see good direction. You can still see good direction with momentum. Midterm time frames are not looking super bearish. 12-minute doesn't look super bullish either, but you could say that maybe we see this direction continue, and even if money flow comes back into the red for a little bit, maybe it makes a higher low and then kind of continues to the upside. And so now I kind of want to look at the context of local market structure to see what I might want to see if we are going to get a move to the upside, if we're going to maybe continue up towards the highs of the range, maybe even continue on to put in higher highs. And we did technically break this very local downtrend that we had, where you could say that the last lower high was right there before we put in that last lower low, and then we have come up to now break that. But very locally we have kind of created a downtrend here. But even if we did form a local downtrend here, we could still form a downtrend, come all the way back down towards these lows, still put in a higher low, and then continue this kind of local uptrend that we have right here. For signs of that being a possibility, I would like to see first price, get a bounce off of a significant level like the golden pocket, which, that was a rough pull because I couldn't see the wick. But it seems like, we have gotten a bounce right off of the golden pocket. And I would also like to see this local downtrend that we formed break and a local uptrend begin. So, for that, price would have to come up above the last lower high, which was right there, close above that, and then form a higher low somewhere and a higher high, begin an uptrend. And, some people like to trade the market structure shifts. Some people like to wait for a market structure shift and then enter on a retrace. Some people just enter as soon as price breaks that last lower high. Some people might just enter right here. Given the context that You are assuming that since we have now broken this local downtrend, we have retraced to a significant level, that this low down here may now actually be a higher low, and price can then come up to put in a higher high in this larger uptrend. So if we saw a shift in market structure locally right there, I may say that I have confidence in this being a higher low, and maybe then we can come up for these highs and maybe make a run for some of these resistances that we have higher, like this CME gap, like some of the highs that we had back here, which we probably did grab some of that liquidity already with this wick. We can actually go to Coinalyze and check that. And yeah, it definitely looks like we grabbed some liquidity on that high. You can see a pretty large decrease of open interest. But we still, in my eyes, did not grab all of the liquidity. I do still think there is going to be more stop losses up above here, up above this high, and up here as well. And like I said in my video yesterday, I am potentially looking for a lower high there if we see the confirmations for it, because that may mean that we are going to come down to the lows of the range since we SFP'd the highs. You saw what happened when you SFP'd the lows of the range. You pretty quickly got to move up towards the highs of the range. So I do think that if price, comes back up here, puts in another significant high up here, and the confirmations are looking right, that we may see a move down towards the lows of the range. So right now it's kind of hard to think of trade ideas very locally, since we are pretty much in the middle of the larger range. It's not a great place to take trades. I'd rather long the lows of the range and short the highs of the range. But there are some scenarios where I would potentially take a scalp trade here. If we begin to see some absorption, then we could have a trade set up with a very tight invalidation. It doesn't seem like, well, actually we did get some absorption right here. You saw CVD put in a lower low very locally. Let me zoom in and verify that was actually a lower low. Yeah, it was, with open interest increasing. So yeah, it seems like we did get some absorption already. So maybe if we see that market structure shift and we do get a retracement, maybe we can see some more absorption at this higher low, and that might make for a decent scalp. But really, I would be more interested in waiting for a move either to the highs or the lows of the range. And I already kind of went over my trading plans in yesterday's video. Not much has changed. Right now I think the most significant level to the downside locally is this 3-hour order block and a potential SFP of this wick into it. That is also outside the value area low of this larger range. So yeah, that's probably the level I'm most interested in to the downside. And to the upside, I'm still watching the CME gap and these highs up here for liquidity. And I'm still, watching a SFP of this high if we come back up here. And yeah, other than that, I may just be trading local levels, looking for local scalps. If we take out the low again, I might look for an SFP. I might look for trades to get stopped out. And, maybe trade that up to the local highs, try and get a little scalp out of it. Alright, and I think that is about it for this video. Other than that, I'm just waiting for, some of my more significant levels to get hit. So thank you all for watching the video. If you enjoyed, please consider leaving a like and subscribing. Really appreciate the support. And I will see you all in the next one.